Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Hale, and I'm with the Customer Success team at FreightWaves. I'm here to help you understand how to tap into the power of Sonar today. This Sonar 101 webinar is designed to show you how to navigate and use the tools and functionality within Sonar. We will have a live Q&A at the end of this session, so please feel free to input any questions you have into the Q&A tool on this webinar, and we'll be sure to get to them at the end of the demonstration. If you would like a deeper dive into understanding the power of all Sonar datasets, we'll be happy to set up a dedicated session for you and other users at your company. Please email sonarsupport@freightwaves.com. Also, we will be hosting a Sonar 201 webinar tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern Time, and on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we will be having one of our market experts talk about environmental data this week at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday with Sonar 301. So I'm going to get started here. Give me just a moment. There we go. When you very first log into the Sonar platform, it will take you over to the top left-hand corner, Global Pages. These pages are updated by FreightWaves employees only for you to be able to view. You cannot change or manipulate the data in any sort of way or add or change the pages. If you would like to add a page, you need to do so in My Pages in the bottom left-hand corner. The global pages will change from day to day or week to week. So if you happen to find a page on the global pages or the dashboard page that we have provided, then you want to save that to your My Pages, we do have a way to do that now. All you have to do is click on Edit Pages and click on the page that you wish to copy to your My Pages so you can save it, so you can change and manipulate it and add other indices or widgets to the page. All you do is click on the page and add the copy column or copy button in the bottom left-hand corner. After you do that, the page is copied successfully and will pop down to your My Pages, as you can see where it says Copy of Dashboard. If you would like to create a page from scratch, all you have to do is go to the bottom left-hand corner, Edit Pages, and a blue plus sign that says Add Page will pop up. When that page pops up, this is for you to be able to name or customize the pages that are beneficial to you. So if you want to create this around a market, around a customer, or a specific data set, I apologize about the noise. We're having a little bit of construction going on outside our booth, so I apologize about that. Like I said, you can name this specific to a customer, specific to a market, or a data set that you wish to view. For purposes today, I'm just going to type in Sonar 101 and click Add. Before I get into actually going through and building out the pages, I do want to go over the features we have in the top right-hand corner. The first one is our moderated chat function, or the double bubble, as I like to call it. You can see where we have people in here commenting, asking questions about markets, about data sets, what to look at, and you have Donnie Gilbert, one of our market experts, responding. I responded today. Sometimes even our CEO, Craig Fuller, will respond as well. So feel free to comment, add anything you need in the moderated chat function, and we'll be sure to get back to you. The next one is our Sonar SOO. So Sonar SOO is a great way to stay in touch with new data sets that we have, updates, upgrades, all sort of things. We keep them housed down at the bottom, so you can go through and look at what has been added, what has changed. We update usually every weekend, kind of depends on what we have going on in the pipeline, but you can click through here and see what has been added or any announcements that we have added. The next one over here is the light bulb, and the light bulb is our document library, our market insights and research page. This is one of the greatest ways to stay connected to what's going on in the industry. So the daily watch comes out every day at 10 a.m. If you guys do not receive that for whatever reason and you're a Sonar user, please feel free to send an email to sonarsupport@freightwaves.com. We want to make sure you guys are receiving that. If you would rather look at it in Sonar, it is housed in the Sonar platform. You can preview it and look into what our market experts are saying for today. We have weather updates, brokerage updates, carrier updates, oil, all kinds of information, maritime, air cargo, with charts, maps, etc., as well as a link for you to click on the click and download the chart into your Sonar so you can view what they're talking about as well. Another thing I'd like to add is our research page here. Our research articles are about 20 to 60 pages long, in-depth, covering all different topics of the industry. We have a team that is dedicated to making sure you guys are receiving the best quality research that we can do. We have carrier surveys, shipper surveys, all kinds of stuff, as you can see here. Looks like we have about a couple a week or so that we're putting out right now. And this is all for you to view. You can download it. You can share it to everybody in your organization. And this is specific to Sonar users. So if you have a Sonar login, this is for you, comes for free with your Sonar subscription. It's a great tool to keep informed and stay up to date with what's going on in the industry. The next one over here is our My Sonar Tools. My Sonar Tools is a great way to customize Sonar that to your organization. For example, My Custom Indices is where you can upload your company's tender information into Sonar and bounce it up against our tender data. So if you want to see what your volume or tender rejection data is outside of, say, the Atlanta market, you can plop all of your tender data in here, type in your company name, otvi.atl, and it will populate your specific data set, and you can bounce it up against our data set to see how they compare or contrast. My Map Layers is where you can upload your customer locations onto the map. So I'll go over this a little bit more in depth when I get to the map, but basically you can upload your customer locations on the map, overlay other data sets like volumes, rejections, etc., for you to see where and what exactly is beneficial for those customers. You know, if there's a lot of volume, see what customers lie within that market, so you can, you know, go after more freight, so you can make better decisions, so you can use it as load board management if you have load shipping out of there. So there's a lot of things that you can use the map layers for, and like I said, I'll show you how to do that a little bit more when we get to the actual map. The last one I'm going to cover is our support function, our Knowledge Center. Our Knowledge Center is a great way for you to kind of see everything you need to know about the data sets in Sonar. The getting started is pretty simple. It has how to build a page, you know, basic navigation, and then indices by Sonar category is where the value is. You can see all the different categories, and in blue underneath there, you can see the specific data sets that are relative to that category. So we have volumes, we have tender rejections. As you can see, head haul index underneath market volume index or market volume insights. You can click on that. It will tell you in depth, what is it, who is interested in this, and what does it tell me? So it gives you an in-depth definition of what the data set is and why is it important. Again, this is the Knowledge Center. You find that in the top right, the question mark. I'm going to pop down here to Sonar 101 again. This is the page that I created earlier. To add widgets to this page, all you do is go up to the blue plus sign, and you can see all the widgets that we have to offer. We have news widgets, calendar, chart, watch lists, map, video, and most volatile markets widget. And you can add as many widgets as you wish to a page. As long as you can view it appropriately, you can add as many as you want. It also automatically saves. So if you have added, 3 or 4 widgets, added data sets to those widgets, and you signed off for the day to go home, the next morning when you log in, that page will still be there. So it is the very last action you do on that page, whether it is deleting, Xing out, or adding something, it will save the very last movement on that page. We also have the ability to share pages. So for example, if you build out this awesome page, say around the Atlanta market, and you want to share this with other people in your organization that have a Sonar login, it's very simple. All you do is click on the page that you want to share, and then on the left-hand side, the share function, and it will populate a link. All you have to do is copy the link and send it in an email and a chat, however you wish, to any Sonar user. And once that user clicks on that link, it will automatically take them to Sonar and automatically populate in their My Pages, so it will be saved for them next time they log in as well. So back to the Sonar 101 page, I'm going to go up to the blue plus sign, and I am going to click on the newsfeed first, the RSS newsfeed. When you click on the RSS newsfeed, you can enable scrolling mode, which I think it's really awesome to do. So I'm going to enable the scrolling mode, and I'm going to pick on the categories that I want to view. So I'm going to pick on transportation news, technology, and I'm going to pick on Sonar and click save. And it will populate a scrolling mode of news articles for you to be able to view from all different sources. You can hover over any article and it will stop it so you're able to read it. If you want to learn a little bit more about that specific article, you click on it and it populates that, that website, that article that you want to view. This is great to have up in your operations floor for other people to see what's going on. It scrolls across so you can see all different kinds. You can adjust the speed of it as well. I'm going to X out of this, and I'm going to go back up to the blue plus sign and go on social media flash content. When you click on social media flash content, the blank news widget will appear. If you click on the left little blue arrow, it will populate all the different subjects and Twitter feeds. We have about 35,000 or so Twitter handles that we handpicked that we find relevant to the transportation industry. So you can click on the ones that you want to view. I'm just going to click on a couple subjects here and have it populate. You can also click on the bottom gear here and turn on the scrolling mode as well. Click save, and it will do the same scrolling mode, have the same type of view from Twitter. You hover over it, it will stop, and you can also click on it and it will populate that specific tweet for these relative subjects that I typed in. You can also X out of these, and you can type in one as well. So you can see FreightWaves Live. It'll populate that as well. Okay. There we go. I knew Dorian has some because I did that the other day. So you can type in Dorian and see all the tweets relative to that hurricane. The X out of here, and I'm going to go to the calendar. The calendar widget is where you can kind of look at the U.S. holidays and FreightWaves articles for you to view on the calendar. I'm going to click save, and it will populate a calendar that shows each day on the calendar and what articles were released on those specific days. It's a great way to kind of go back and make sure that you, you know, read articles that you wanted to read, view the holidays on the chart, go back on a specific day, maybe that, you know, you guys had a really good day in freight volumes in your company, or maybe, you know, struggled a little bit, or hurricane, anything like that. You can go back and look on any given day and the amount of articles that were published on that specific day. All right, I'm going to now move on to the map widget first. So I'm going to go back up to the blue plus sign, and I'm going to go down to map first. Once you click on map, it'll come up a blank map for you to be able to add whatever data sets, weather, anything that you want to view onto the map. It is broken out by our 135X markets. They are broken out by 3-digit zip codes. We have partnered with DAT to receive that map breakout. So if you are familiar with the DAT map, it's the same 3-digit zip breakout. You go over to the left, we have all the different tabs that you can click on to add data to the map. The first tab is the date range. The date range is where you can click on the date and look at historical data on a historical date. It automatically defaults to today, but like I said, you can click on any day and upload the data specific to that day. The second tab is the map layer tab. You also can turn on satellite on and off as well. But the map layer tab is what I was talking about in the My Sonar tools, where you can upload locations onto the map for you to be able to view exactly where they lie within the market. So you can see this pilot travel center, the address, and you can also add a specific note to each address or each location as well. There's a lot of different ways that you can use this, as I stated before. You can overlay data sets underneath it. So I'm gonna do that just so we can kind of look at it. I'm gonna go to our trucking supply and demand, turn on my choropleth, and I'm gonna look up outbound tender reject real quick. I'll go over this a little bit more in just a little bit. There we go. So I overlaid outbound tender reject index where our customer locations are. So as you can see, the darker the blue on here, the higher the percent of the tender rejections. So you can see which markets fall within those dark blue. I'm sorry, which locations. So say you uploaded customer locations on here, you have a handful that are in a dark blue market. You could reach out to them for maybe more freight. You might need to increase price out of those specific locations. You can use this as a sales tactic going out and finding new customers as well. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this. This is just one of the ways that you can customize Sonar to benefit your organization. I'm going to turn off this freight data real quick. Go back to the map layers and click on this blue pencil. This is where you can upload your specific map file. It's a really easy CSV template. It's the name, the address, the note. When you upload it, it will all populate under one subject line. So that's under the second tab, the map layer tab. The third one, I kind of went over pretty high level, but it's the freight data tab. When your freight data is turned on, you can view different types of granularity. It's automatically defaulted to the US markets, but you can view Canadian markets, PAD markets, US states, and regions. And when your choropleth is turned on, you can scroll through all the different types of data sets that we have, and you can click on those as well to view them. You can also type them in once you get a little bit familiar with what we have in Sonar. For example, I just typed in the head haul index, which measures the difference between outbound and inbound volume into a given market. We'll cover this more in depth tomorrow during our 201 at 3:30 Eastern Time. The next one is our Sonar Analytics Volatility tab. So it's very similar to the Freight Data tab. You have to turn it on, and then it will give you a list of 4 different volatility indices that we currently track: outbound volume, outbound rejection, head haul, and tender lead time. So if you click on any one of those, it shows the volatility within those markets within that specific index. So as you can see, the head haul volatility has green, which is strong increase, all the way to bright red, which is strong decrease, and it shows you the high highs and the low lows of that market. Anything that goes out of its normal. So this is a great map to look at every day for load board management, for getting new freight from customers, pricing accordingly, anything that you can take advantage of with volatility in a market. I'll go over this one a little bit more when we get to the widget. We have the MostVolatile Markets widget, which is based off of the same thing. This is just the map view of it. The next one is our rail data. You can turn rail data on and off. You can click through and X out of any of the rail lines you do not wish to see. The next tab is the weather and traffic layer settings. I'm going to click on weather road conditions. And as you can see, you see green and blue lines. We track anything from dry, wet, snowy, icy, possible closure in the market. So as you can see, I'm sorry, on the actual road. You can scroll into a market and it will populate more roads the more you scroll in. On the top right hand corner, you can play 48 hours in advance. So if you click the play button, you'll be able to see how the roads change to maybe dry to wet as a storm passes. As we all know, that the actual road conditions still stay wet or freeze, ice, stay snowy. So this is what this is used for. You can see in the future of how the road is gonna be. The next one I'm going to look at is the traffic settings. Let's see here. The traffic settings show low to severe congestions on any given road. As you can see, you zoom in, more populate again. The dark red is severe congestion, and it is live traffic. The next thing right underneath that is the road cameras. If you turn our road cameras on, we have 20,000 DOT road cameras that are updated every 10 minutes for you guys to view. I like to look at it to see if there is traffic buildup, to see if there's weather issues on the runway, or I'm sorry, on the roadway. It's a great way to view that. I use this all the time when I did work in a brokerage at my past job to see, you know, there was a traffic standstill, there was snow, anything like that. Would take a screenshot, send it to my customers to let them know, hey, we are in traffic, see the screenshot of where my driver's at. I went to all of the DOT websites trying to find exactly the lane or the road my driver was on. Sonar has it all right here for you. You can zoom in and zoom out and zoom out, go to the top right, redo camera search, and then it will populate more or less cameras based on where you're at. Let's see, the next thing I'm going to view is I'm going to back out a little bit here. So you can see the Denver market is a pretty big market. If you turn on your location forecast setting right here, and say that you have a load way down here, way far away from the actual Denver proper, but it's still in the Denver market. If you can click on that, click on location forecast, and it will populate where exactly the longitude and latitude is. So this is Fowler, Colorado. You can see what that road condition is for that specific location on a timestamp, the road temp, air temp. If you click these 3 buttons over here, you can see the different wind gusts, wind speed, all kinds of stuff that you can add to this as well. And you can also view this on a graph. You can see the temperature, you can see wind speed, road conditions, all kinds of stuff, all right here by just turning on location forecast and clicking on where you want to look at the data from. The freight data portion is just showing you from the market. So this is the Denver market and all the indices that we have relative to the Denver market. So you can look at the head haul index here, click on that, and it spawns a chart right here for the haul for Denver. So all of those indices you can click on and spawn a chart right from the map. The next one I'm going to go over is the Critical Event Center, which is the very last tab down here. The Critical Event Center is a great way to view weather threats going on not just in the United States, but all over the world. You can see severe thunderstorms, earthquakes, wildfires, tropical cyclones, all kinds of stuff that we currently track. We also have 5 different assets that we track: airports, canals, ports, railroads, and refineries. If anything happened to those assets, obviously that would affect the transportation industry. So that's why we currently track them. And that is what all of these little circles are. They are called assets. You can zoom in and more of them will appear in a given market. Green is good, all clear. And when you get to the orange and red, that means there is some, let's see here. So I'm going to click on a green and orange one. Click on the orange one right here. That is the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. We have a risk of 10 due to coastal flooding. I'm going to click on that. We have a median risk, which is why it is orange. The max risk is 10. We track anywhere from 1 to 25. It will show pinpoint on a map. The threat is a coastal flood, and it's about a 1-day remaining threat. It will tell you what the risk is for the day in advance, the temperature, accumulated precipitation, what that threat is, all kinds of information that you need to know. We also have the shading over here, as you can see, fire conditions, flash flood, tornado warnings. So you can see a lot of information, winter weather advisory. Another really cool thing that we have is the hurricane tracker. So you can see Lorenzo here is a Category 2 hurricane. If you click on that, it will give you a ton of information about the hurricane, the wind speed, longitude and latitude, where it's moving and how fast it's moving. You can look at historical path, so where it came from and where is it going based off of forecasted models. So I think this is a great way to view, obviously, the threat, whether it's to the United States, whether it's a threat to any port or any vessels coming across seas and its tracking, in its path, I'm sorry. There's a lot of ways that you can use this information for weather threats, not only to the United States, but all over the world. The last thing I'm going to want to show you on here, just because I think it's really fun, is the overlays. So you can view the radar for the United States only, but you can view cloud coverage. You can view where it's day and nighttime, precipitation, snowfall. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do on the Critical Events Center. If anybody has any questions or more in-depth explanation, you can email sonarsupport@freightwaves.com or drop a question and answer or question in the Q&A tool down at the bottom. The next thing I'm going to go to is the chart. So I went back up to the blue plus sign and clicked on the chart. When you do that, you will populate a plain chart for you to play with. So if you see the inner symbol button, this is where the index categories come into play. We have added the 5 most popular rail and trucking indices on the top. So right there you can view the most important data sets or the most viewed data sets that we have. But as you can see, we have a lot of different categories from environmental data to detention to volumes to rejections, etc. Market Volume Insights houses all your volume data, and Trucking Supply and Demand houses all your rejection data. I'm going to just do high level. I'm going to do a otvi.usa. I'm going to type it in just for ease of time here, and it will populate on a chart. Down at the bottom, we have date ranges, so you can look within the last month. You can look in the last 6 months, the last year, and some of our data sets go back to the 1990s or whatnot, and you can click on all and it will view all of the data. You can also click on the date range right here and do a specific date. So if you wanted to view, August 6th through today, you can click apply and it will do just that specific date range that you're wanting. Let's see here. So if you go up to the display function, you can see the different display types for y-axis. The absolute axis gives you the absolute number, the absolute value of what you're looking at. Relative gives you the percent change over the given time period that you're looking at. And dual gives you 2 y-axes. So let me compare. I'll compare outbound tender volume index for the United States versus outbound tender reject index for the United States. Outbound tender volume index is a basis points index. Outbound tender rejection index is a percentage, which is why it's given me that flat line. So I'm going to go up to display down here and I'm going to click on relative. Relative will show you the percent change over a given time period for those indices. So what am I looking at here? So for the last year, outbound tender volume index has increased 4% and outbound tender rejection index has decreased 71%. You can also view this on a dual y-axis, and this will give you the absolute values but on a dual y. So you can see outbound tender volume index is over here, outbound tender rejection index is over here at about 5%. I'm going to X out of this right here and go to display again, but I'm going to show you the seasonality mode. Underneath seasonality, you can change the years to whichever that you want to view. Our volume and rejection indices, we only have about a year on that, so you cannot view like the last 5 years. So I'm going to click 1 year, click on show seasonality, and it will show in orange on here outbound tender volume for last year versus outbound tender volume for this year. So as you were seeing on the relative a minute ago, we were at 4% increase. You can see right here where that increase is at. I like looking at it on the full year down here in the bottom right because it shows you the future of what happened last year. Well, not the future, but it shows you what happened as a full year last year. So it's kind of a little bit looking to the future. You can tell trends in a market, seasonality changes in volume, that type of stuff. You can break this down all the way to a market level. Go back to display. I'm going to take off seasonality mode for right now. We have a lot of different chart styles that you can view. What you're looking at now is mountain. You could do a line view. You can view baseline, where you can drag the baseline to wherever you want to view and see green is above that baseline and red is below the baseline. And we have a candle charts, etc., that you can view as well if you wish. We also have where you can turn on large fonts to view. This is great for screen sharing, screenshotting, or if you just have a hard time seeing the numbers. You also can turn on the units in the y-axis. So nobody would really know if this was an index, except it says it in the title. But we have percents, we have dollar signs, we have all kinds of stuff. So you can turn on show units, and this will show you what that is being measured in. So as you can see, outbound tender volume index is measured as an index. Also down here we have themes. So what you're currently looking at is the night theme. We also have the day theme that you can view. And you can also make your own theme by clicking on New Theme. You can pick and choose what colors you want to view your line chart, your mountain, background, etc., all by clicking on Add Theme. You can name your theme and click Save, and all of those are housed underneath themes down here. The next thing we have is our studies function. You have moving averages, RSI, standard deviation, all kinds of stuff. If you guys have questions about the studies, please feel free to reach out to us and we can get one of our market experts to help you with that. The next one is our events. So this is a cool tool. So I'm going to click on show events right here and turn it on. And so all these little bubbles that you can see on the chart, these are news articles that have referenced this specific index. So any of our news articles that have referenced OTVI, Outbound Tender Volume Index for the United States, it will populate on this chart as when it was published. So let's see, the most recent one that was published was September 10th. And OTVI.USA was referenced in this article. This is a great tool to view if you see big spikes, big declines, or something disrupting the market. Sure, if you were to go back and look at when Dorian happened, you'll have an article about that on that day. So it's a great way to go back and look at articles based off of data and see context to the data as well. We have a crosshair where you can click and just kind of see what the point is that you're wanting to view and what the value is. We have the info box where it will show you the same data, just a little bit more information. And then we have the draw function. The draw function is where you can select a tool and you can do call outs, you can do channels, you can do trend lines, all kinds of stuff. So for example, if you wanted to do a call out, you would just click on call out, click where you want the bubble to be, and type in any message you want and click save, and it will automatically save there for you, and it will save the next time you log in as well. We can also do trend lines down at the very bottom. So you can see what the trend line was here to there over 23 days. As you can see, it was about 1,300 basis points, about a 14% increase in volume over the last 23 days. So you can do trend lines on any chart as well. You can change all the different fonts, all kinds of stuff up here as well. So that's about everything for the most part with the chart that you would need. The only other thing is the view symbol information down here. If you're looking at any data set, so outbound tender volume index, and you want to view symbol information, it'll just give you a little bit more detail about what it is, what category it's in, how often that it's updated. So this is updated daily. Just a little bit more information. The next thing we have is a watch list. I'm going to go back up to the blue plus sign and click on watch list. We have 6 different types, and you build them all the exact same way, so it's pretty easy. All you do is click on manage symbols, and you can see all the categories that we currently have is the exact same as the chart categories. So once you get familiar with what data sets are under which categories, it's all the same in all of our widgets. The search function is where you can also type them in as well. And the existing list that we have is under default symbol list, and we've added a couple lane rejection data for specific markets if you want to view that as well. all you do is, I'm going to go to browse here, and I'm going to go to 5 most popular trucking indices, outbound tender reject index, and I'm going to look at all markets. Click on X market, add selected items, click done. I'm going to name my watch list outbound tender reject index, and I'm going to start with the standard watch list to show you guys. Click save. The standard watch list is just a plain black and gray list. You can filter this by name, value. As you can see, the highest we have is Bismarck at 36% rejection rate. The actual change and the percent change. Medford, Oregon is the highest percent change at 89%. You can also click on any chart to view that as well, or any one to view a chart as well. So you can see this huge skyrocket, looks like day over day, from about 4% to 8.62% out of the Medford, Oregon area. You can also click these 3 dots, add 52-week lows and highs market share as well. And you can also filter by clicking the filter button. So if you want to look at values that are greater than 5, you can do that. You can also do it for change or percent change as well. I'm going to go back to the edit function and show you the heat map list. The heat map list is the exact same as the standard watch list, except it's color coded. Green means it's going up, red means it's going down. You can filter the same and add the same other data sets or other features as well. Go back to edit, and I'm going to show a tree map. So the tree map is a little bit different. So the top left is the largest value, all the way to the bottom right is the smallest value. So Bismarck, North Dakota is at a 36% rejection rate, and day over day we have increased 8.8%. So you can see that the green markets have increased in rejections day over day. The red has decreased. You can also change this percent change time period to view this over the last week or over the last 2 weeks to see the even greater changes over the last 2 weeks. So if something is continually going up over the last 2 weeks, that's a trending, growing market with rejections. So as you can see, we have the bottom is the current value and the top number is that percent change over the given time period that you are showing. I like to look together to see region areas. So you can see like a lot of the Midwest is all up on the higher side. I think down here we have some California, we're on the lower side of rejection. So grouping regions together, I think, gives a good idea of what the entire region or multiple markets are doing because they feed off of each other. You can also click on any one of these and it will spawn a chart. See the Mobile, Alabama market has had a significant increase over the last week as well. You can also filter this the same way. So if you want to look at values greater than 8, click apply, and it will show you the markets that have an 8% rejection rate or higher. I'm going to go back to edit, and I'm going to show you guys the scrolling ticker. Scrolling ticker just scrolls across the screen. It's great for in-office TVs for your team to look at. If you hover over any of them, it will stop, and you can also spawn a chart from there as well. I'm going to go back to edit, and I'm going to look at the gauge chart. The gauge chart shows 52-week low, 52-week high, and what the current value is. And this also, like I said, is on the scrolling mode. Great for TVs in the office for your team to look at. As you can see, Bismarck, the higher it gets to that 52-week high, the gauge fills up. You can also sort this by value, 52-week low, 52-week high, so the highest or the lowest. And you can also do the same filter on this as well. The last one I'm going to show you on here is our market table. Click on market table, and this is the best one to show multiple markets with multiple indices you want to view. So say you have a team that operates only in the Southeast. You can bring up only the markets that lie within the Southeast, and you can view rejections, volume, head haul, wait time, detention. Line them up all right here, and you can see what all of those are doing in the market. So the bottom number on here is the same. It is the value as of yesterday. So rejections in Allentown, PA was at 4.67%. Day over day, it's decreased 1%. You can also change this over the last 2 weeks. You can filter it by value, percent change, anything like that. You can filter it to view. This is Bismarck again at our top. Click on it, also spawn a chart. But like I said, this is a great way to view multiple different data sets with multiple different markets. You can also filter it the same way. That is it for the watch list. Couple more minutes here, so I'm going to go over the last 2 widgets that we have. I'm going to go back up to the blue plus sign and click on Video Library. Sonar Video Library is a great tool as well as our YouTube page. So we have all of our webinars listed here, FreightWaves Now videos, instructional videos, all the way down to our fuller speed ahead. We have monthly market updates and all of our past events videos on here as well. It's a great tool to go back and listen and view great content. The last one on the list is our most volatile markets. I'm going to click on most volatile markets, and it will populate that specific widget. You can click on all markets, or you can pick and choose the ones you want to view. We also have a way down here in the output options to where you can only show markets that have volatility within them. So I'm going to click on that and click Save. And this is the most volatile markets widget. On the left-hand side, we have all the specific markets that have volatility in one of 4 of our data sets that we currently track. Outbound volume, outbound rejection, head haul, and tender lead time. So all of the data listed is the same. The bottom number is the value as of yesterday, and the top number is the percent change over a given week. The only thing that is different is the color coding. If you have a green, that is a strong or a moderate increase in volatility. If it's red, it's a strong or moderate decrease in volatility in that specific market, in that specific index. Lexington, Kentucky is one of those markets with a strong increase in outbound volume and a moderate increase in head haul volatility. So you can click on any one of these. And like I said, as I said this earlier in the map, this shows your high highs and your low lows. So you can see Lexington isn't ever this high when it comes to outbound tender volume. So it is flagging you so you do not have to do the legwork of figure out those volatility movements by yourself. So it's flagging you to show you that there is volatility with volume coming out of Lexington. So there's more volume than normal shipping out of that market. As you can see, this has happened over the last couple days, so it's not something just for one day. So this is a market where there's a lot of freight shipping out of right now relative to its norm. You can click on the head haul and look at the same. So I'm going to click on head haul volatility, and it will bring up outbound tender volume and inbound tender volume. So we've had an increase in outbound tender volume and an increase in inbound tender volume. So there's more trucks coming into that market, and there's more freight shipping out of that market, which looks like it's out of that normal for sure as well. So that's why it was flagged as an increase. That is it for a high-level view of Sonar navigation. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to input them in the Q&A tool, and we'll be here for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Anything that you guys have, we'll be happy to help. Thank you guys so much for your time today. If you would like to have a deeper dive into understanding all of Sonar's data sets, we'll be happy to set up a dedicated session for you and everyone else at your company. So please reach out to your customer success rep, or you can email sonarsupport@freightwaves.com. Tomorrow is 201, Sonar 201, and that is at 3:30 Eastern Time with market expert Don and Gilbert. Thursday at 11 a.m. is Sonar 301, going over environmental data. And again, that's 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop it below, and appreciate your time today on the 1st of October. Thank you guys for the time today. Again, we didn't receive any questions, so we'll wait around another minute or two. If something does pop up, please feel free to add it in the Q&A tool or the chat function. Again, tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern Time, we'll have Sonar 201, and Thursday at 11 a.m. we will have Sonar 301. Thank you guys, and appreciate your time.